popular ones, no?
Yeah, no.
This is a separate group, related. Thank
Which one is that?
Refuse Fascism.
Oh, okay. You had a demonstration the other day, I think, and
Yes.
yesterday, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see. Was it a success?
It was a qualified success. Yeah. We could have used more people. You know, almost 1,000. We wanted to have more than 1,000, but it was good. You know, definitely a good day. How'd you hear about it?
I was there.
You were there.
I
Okay.
participate, sort of.
Great.
I heard that, you started marching. I didn't march with you guys, but you said that you were going to march to Trump Tower. Did you go there?
We
or?
ended up not going to Trump Tower.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah,
Oh.
so what happened was we met up with another march.
Okay.
Yeah.
Join forces.
Yes, and we joined forces with them, and then we headed down to the village, because they were heading down to the village, and that was our secondary to go down to the village. So.
Just real fun in the village.
Basically.
To hell with the...
We went to Washington Square Park. And,
I see.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. Yeah, Washington Square Park is always good.
Yeah.
But what they're trying to achieve, I was listening to, you know what kind of bothered me? I came from USSR originally. And I saw this guy,
okay.
right? And I saw this guy from Revcom who was talking about communism and socialism. I just can't understand. This is the totalitarian regime that I escaped from. Is this something that this guy or Trump hands out now people want to implement in America? I'm confused, to be honest with you.
So that's the thing. It's separate groups. There's the Revcom, those are the revolutionary communists, and there's Refuse Fascism. They're two separate groups. They work together, but they have different objectives. The Refuse Fascism is an umbrella group that's trying to get everybody just to recognize that fascism is here in America today, and we need to get rid of it in the form of.
But how is that's another thing I don't understand. How can you say that fascism is in America? And again, coming from USSR, I see this demonstration over there. I see that you're carrying a mock-up of a president, disparaging image of the president. Can you imagine what would have happened to you in USSR, the country I came from?
Right.
Imagine what would have happened in Nazi Germany. You would think about carrying the...
Well, it's already started here. He sent secret police into Portland and other cities to abduct people. It started. The thing is, like in Germany, it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like one day and then another
60 days. That's all that it took Hitler, 60.
No, it was years and years.
No. It took him 60. He got elected. There was a Weimar Republic. I'm sure you know history. After the First World War, there's Weimar Republic. Berlin is used to be known as the culture capital of the world, freewheeling city. And then there were the elections. And Hitler won, fair and square. Then Hindenburg died, and he became chancellor. And then he burned Reichstag as a pretext to establish a Nazi dictatorship over there. And in 60 days, that's exactly what happened.
Right. So, there's a bunch of different things. First of all, we have more checks and balances here.
Thank God.
That's right. So,
okay.
A lot of the issue is that after World War I, Germany was very downtrodden by the rest of Europe. The economic conditions really...
I can't hear anything.
The economic conditions that were caused after World War I because of all the sanctions that were placed on Germany is a lot of what led to Hitler rising before World War II. So the thing is, yes, it took 60 days for the fascism to consolidate, but it was a process over time. Like it wasn't, it started in the early 30s. It wasn't like just a 60-day process.
It started
where he grew in power and power, and it's the same thing with Trump. The things that he was doing 4 years ago are not the things that he's doing today.
Yeah, but look,
and
there's
with a second.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. And with a second, 4 years, which could be 8 years or 12 years, depending on what he's saying. It's a dangerous place for us to be, basically. So the whole point is that we need to. The main thing we're trying to do is get as many people in the streets as possible. Just get the knowledge out there that he needs to be stopped as a fascist. It's not purely.
So do you truly, inside your heart, do you truly believe that that Trump could be equated with Hitler?
So definitely not equated with at this point. No.
But you're saying use the word fascism. It's such a strong word. Fascism.
So
that's Hitler.
The way that I look at it, we don't live in a fascist country. We have a fascist as president. In his heart and what his objectives are, they're fascists. We don't actually have fascism as a complete whole. But our leader is attempting to bring us to that place, and he's doing everything he can to bring us to that place.
But specifically, I mean, what specifically, I'm kind of watching politics. Again, like I said, I came from the USSR, and I was thoroughly enjoying the freedoms here in America, something that I didn't have over there.
Right, absolutely.
So what are specific examples that would make you and your supporters, your followers, think that Trump exhibits, let's say, the characteristics such as Hitler did, which is fascism?
Yeah, I mean, the main one recently has been the sending of secret police in to abduct people. Threatening to use the army on the populace is another one. There are other things that aren't peculiar to Trump. They've been done by multiple American presidents before. With extending wars in other countries and.
But so did Obama. I mean, he started wars. So is Obama fascist then?
No.
But his definition?
So that's what I'm saying is that there is this undercurrent of fascistic things that have happened before. Trump is accelerating them.
But again, specifically, what specifically? This is first thing. I can tell you specifically what Hitler did to become a fascist. First, he burned Reichstag. Second, he implemented nationalistic laws. He forbade Jews, for instance, to participate in actual political, economic life in Germany, which ended up, of course, as we all know, with the death camps. Then he established the system whereby he divided people into two Germans, Aryans, non-Aryans. He implemented the eugenics system over there. I mean, the list can go on and on of specific things that Hitler did after he had become Chancellor of Germany. So what specifically did Trump do within these lines that would characterize him as a Nazi?
So it's a lot of it is things that he is threatening to do.
But there's a difference. I mean, the words, the saying, obviously, that actions speak louder than words. It doesn't matter what you say.
But he has done some things that are actually fascist. The sending of the secret police is one of them.
Okay, so you gave me a couple of examples in his fourth year of presidency. So, I mean, for the first 3.5 years or so, he was perfectly fine. He wasn't fascist, right?
He had the same fascistic tendencies that other American presidents have had, and then they've been accelerated now, and I believe that they will continue to be accelerated at an even quicker pace during the next 4 years as president.
Okay, so let's take Biden now, because we only have a binary kind of choice. It's either him or Biden. So do you think Biden can lead us to a kind of more benign kind of life here in America? Relations, race?
So.
You believe so?
Biden is not great. He is, but I feel like there is not an equivalence between Biden and Trump. A lot of people on the left think that Biden and Trump are just as bad as each other. I don't believe that. I see Biden as just a band-aid on our system, and Trump is a cancer that could really metastasize and just get its claws into all sorts of parts of the American government and society, and cause a lot of problems. The thing is that you say that it's only things that he says, but he has 42% support in the country, and if that support...
And so did Obama, and so did many other presidents.
Obama had more than 42%.
Nah, they more or less hover within the same
Yeah, I'm not saying that Obama was great. I'm just saying that Trump was worse.
Is there a great president then, by this extension? Has there ever been like a great president?
FDR was really the last one.
FDR, okay.
Carter tried to do some good things, but he did a lot of bad things also. The thing is, I agree with you. Up until this year, I thought that Trump was just a gangster, just in it for the money, just in it for his own personal gain. This year has really opened up my eyes to, what he wants to do with America. The thing is that people say that he's a buffoon and he gets nothing done. It's actually not true. He's actually gotten a lot done in these 4 years in terms of stacking the courts and doing all sorts of other things that the Republicans have really. For a long time, they've been wanting a strong man in the presidency, somebody who who actually wants to get these things done. Because most Republicans, they don't give a shit. They're just in it for the money, and they don't care. It seems like Trump actually cares about getting terrible policies done, or maybe he doesn't care about it, but he's doing it, That's what I'm worried about. Is that another 4 years, we'll be so far down this hole that we'll never come out of it.
But what is, let's say, your biggest fear? I mean, obviously, you don't want Trump to be. You don't like his first.
My biggest fear is that Trump is president for 12 years. You know, he's
Well,
not,
that's
he's not
not going to happen. I mean,
Are
it's
you sure about that?
positive. Yeah,
Why,
this.
why is that not going to happen?
Well, it's
all
not
they,
going to
all
happen.
they need is a 2/3 majority to change the law.
Well, then maybe it will happen.
Yeah.
Okay, then he'll need the majority.
Right. I mean, at some point, you know, presidents could serve
FDR.
2 terms. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
They got rid of that. It's
Okay.
a law that can definitely be changed.
Well, but to get this majority, he has to do something positive, because obviously you can't kind of put the gun to the heads
Right,
of senators and.
yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that by doing something positive, there's such an echo chamber in terms of what people pay attention to in the news.
Uh-huh.
That, you know, so like one thing is that 93% of these protests have been nonviolent. So you know, like
Okay.
globally, you know,
Uh-huh.
and so that means that the vast majority of these protests have been nonviolent. Because
I agree,
and the vast
absolutely.
majority of the people, because 93% of the protests have been nonviolent. That means that more than 93% of the people attending the protests have been nonviolent.
Yeah, that's true,
Because
yeah.
it's usually just a few people causing violence for the whole group.
Yeah, I agree.
And yet, 40% or more of Americans
Uh-huh.
think that the majority of protesters are violent
But-
because of what they see on the television.
Exactly. Thank you. Fake news. I'm with you on that.
But
Fake news.
But the primary source of fake news in this country is Donald Trump.
How so?
And Fox News. And you know,
Really?
BBC and OAN, yes.
Really? Fox News? You blame Fox News? Okay. He's not too happy with Fox News either, actually.
Right, I know that he's going to OAN.
Yeah, but no matter what channel you turn to, and look, I understand how journalism works. It's sensationalism. So, you know, you have to use your own filter and your own brain to understand, like you said, that most of the protests are non-violent. But when you watch the news, if, let's say, there are planes flying around us all the time, thousands and thousands of planes.
Okay.
Is it front page news? No, just we take it for granted. As soon as even the smallest plane crashes, it's front page news.
Right.
So my point is, it's just you got to understand, obviously, that you know, when riots happen in Portland, when they happen in New York and some other places, that's the front news, not because they happen all over the place, but well, just because they do happen in those places, and they have to be covered, and they make front page news. It's up to us to actually, well, understand, like
Right.
you said, that
But
it's not the case.
But my point is that
Uh-huh.
you know, what you were saying is that something like that can happen because you know, people will understand that that it shouldn't occur. You know, changing the laws so that Trump could have a third term. This is just an example.
Uh-huh.
You know, but if you get enough people that are in that news sphere where all they're listening to is that, then you can convince them to do something like that. You can get the will of the people to agree with these things. You know, like that's the problem. You know, it's a slippery slope where, you know, sure, you know, maybe he gets a second term and it's not the worst thing ever.
Uh-huh.
But you know, can we risk that? Like, you know, it doesn't seem like something that I want to have to risk. You know, I feel like a second term of Trump will be an absolute catastrophe for America and for the world.
Well, you're the voter, obviously, and as a voter, you do have kind of your pet peeves, so to speak. So the most important issues, and what do you think is the most, let's say, what's the most important issue for you personally?
The most important issue for
Uh-huh.
me personally? I guess I would say economic justice. I feel like that is...
Economy or economic justice? Because
well, they're intertwined, but
Uh-huh.
I feel like you can't fix the economy without economic justice. You know, you can't purely rely
excuse me one
on-
sec. Hello?
You can't purely rely on boosting GDP as an indicator of the health of the economy.
Uh-huh.
Income inequality in hand with GDP, those two things together, we need to boost. You know, because if you boost GDP and income inequality gets worse, you really haven't done that much to fix the economy. You need to reduce income inequality and boost GDP at the same time, and there needs to be a focus on getting that done. And I feel like you know, one of the things is, like, for decades, America has needed all sorts of infrastructure projects, jobs programs. We haven't got any of this from any presidents, and that's a separate issue. You know, Trump isn't going to do that. Biden is going to do that, sure.
But isn't
you know,
unemployment?
But the way that he has, you know, dealt with this pandemic has just been horrible. I believe that, you know, if Biden had been in place, or Obama, or you know, or Clinton, or anybody of this ilk, they would have taken a much better care of this pandemic than Trump has. His anti-science bias, you know, or you know, I don't know if it's his or if it's his followers, has just, you know, really made this an absolute mess of a situation where we've become vulnerable to future pandemics. You know, the thing is that other countries, this one was not a military strike. But what if countries see the fact that America is so much weaker to pandemics than other countries, and they decide, oh, that's how we hit them? It's just all sorts of things where he is a terrible president in so many ways. Like, people don't realize these things. He's weakening our country. He's destabilizing the world in so many different ways. It's just ridiculous that he is in place to get a second term. Like, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me that people actually believe that he is doing anything good for this country. He's gotten small bits of legislation done. People like the First Step Act is this great thing. It's okay. He's gotten like tiny little things done, but he's done so many worse things.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. Most of the people that came from USSR region, like myself, we see Trump from a totally different lens.
Okay, well, and how do you see it?
Well, we see a lot of positive things that he has done to the country, to the world. Well, to start with, what's the job number one for any president?
What's the what? Job number
one?
The
job number one.
The security of the nation.
That's exactly right.
And you feel that he's improved the security?
Oh, I don't think I know.
Okay. How so? What has he done?
Okay, so speaking of actions speak louder than words, as an example. Before he became the president, there was, again, front page news. Oh, Trump said he's not going to support NATO, that NATO has to be disbanded. Well, lo and behold, not only after he did get elected as president of this country, he was pro-NATO, and more than that, he was pushing and is getting additional hundreds of billions of dollars for the NATO to fulfill its obligation of paying 2% of their GDP to the NATO alliance. So speaking of defense, coming from Russia, trust me, Russia is not sleeping. China is our biggest enemy right now, all communists. The only way to keep them at bay is precisely what Trump is doing, building our military, financing our military, investing in our military. He created the Space Force. So this is the job number one. I mean, you admitted yourself that this is the job number one of any president, not only American, obviously. Putin thinks the same way. His job number one is protecting his own citizens. And in this respect, he did an excellent job, definitely better than most of his predecessors.
Well,
no?
So there's multiple aspects to improving the military. Increasing the budget, sure. That is something that does improve the military.
Oh, absolutely. Modernizing it, building new ships, building new rockets.
Absolutely. But, modernizing the military is not under the purview of the President of the United States. That's not something that he personally has done. That's something that...
well, that's his direction. No, but that's his direction. Obama was doing absolutely opposite.
Have you talked to anybody in the military about the Space Force? As far as I can tell from military people that I know, the Space Force is just a boondoggle. It's not something that is helping us at all. Like, basically, because that part of the military was in the Air Force. They had Space Command. It was something that we already had. There was no real need to create a separate branch for space defense currently.
But what do you think it's designed to do? I mean, in your mind, the Space Force, yeah. What is its job?
Honestly, I'm not even sure. To defend our interests in space, I would assume.
Well, what does that entail?
Defend our satellites, various things. But those were already being taken care of by the Air Force.
No, that's how can Air Force be in space? The problem.
So you don't even know. Okay, yeah. The Space Force is not a new thing. We were already doing the things that Space Force is taking care of.
Actually, no.
In the Air Force, yes, it was Space Command in Air Force. It was a separate. Entity within the Air Force that basically they took that part and they took other parts of other branches and put them together into one Space Force. So
it looks like that no matter what sort of arguments I can use in favor of Trump, no matter how large or small, it looks like you will find the counter arguments, in my mind, not exactly factually based, to undermine what he's doing. I mean, he's your president, he's my president. I want this country to succeed. I want this country to be safe.
I want this country to succeed as well. If he was doing things that I thought would help this country succeed, I would talk about that.
And the way to succeed, like you said, and we have obviously agreement on that, the job number one is keeping us safe. Speaking of Space Force, and again, it's a small example of what he has done already. Oh
right.
my God!
And I'm telling you, it's like many other things that Trump has done. It hasn't actually accomplished anything other than aggrandizing himself, making himself appear to be doing something. But ask anybody in the military, or ask 10 people in the military, 9 of them will tell you that creating the Space Force has not improved the defense of our country one bit. All it's done is made Trump look good and cost us a little bit of money in terms of restructuring and reorganizing.
But gosh, stop calling. But when we talk about aggrandizing himself, I mean, he has already been, I mean, there's a Trump Tower right behind us. There's so many, he changed so much, the skyline of New York and many other places around the country and even the world. $400,000 or $450,000, this salary that he gives away. I mean, to him, it's like pennies. It's like nothing. He's a billionaire, and
he's
probably multi-billionaire.
The presidency. I don't know what you're talking about. He gets a lot of business to his properties because of his position as the president. He gets a lot of business to specifically go to his properties. There's many stories of him moving things to less useful locations, purely to get the business into his various businesses around the world.
So what do you think motivated him to run for presidency?
Honestly, I don't know. You know, I don't live in his brain. It could be many different things. You know, he could be a true believer in what he's talking about. He could have believed that he wasn't going to win, and it just kind of happened. He could have done it just for the money. You know, but right now it appears that he actually cares about getting these fascistic policies into place. So you know, he's pushing for them.
So do you think that, again, fundamentally, that he loves this country, or he doesn't care about America?
I don't. I mean, if I had to guess, I don't think he is the kind of person that is capable of love. He doesn't appear to actually care about any of the people in his family or his wives, or he doesn't give a shit about women in general, it seems like. You know, maybe he has some camaraderie with men, I don't really know, but he doesn't appear to be the kind of person that takes love into account when he makes decisions.
Do you think Obama loved country, loved America?
It's possible that he didn't. You know, as far as I can tell, Obama, you know, appears to love his wife and his children, and you know, care
as a
about,
president. I mean, did he love this country as a president? I mean, because I don't care if he's
a person has to be capable of love in the first place to love their country.
I see.
You know, if you're not capable of love, you can't love your country.
I got it.
So. You know, but I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know. But you know, you ask me the question, I'm answering it as well.
I got it.
Yeah.
So there is nothing really, not a single thing, positive thing that you can say about Trump. Not
no,
one.
I can say plenty of positive things about him. You know, he has not burned the country to the ground. We're you know, not completely fucked over yet. You know, he hasn't done those things. He has gotten some things done. There's I forgot. I read it was the First Step Act. He got a couple other things done that are kind of good. I forget what the other ones are. I would have to look it up. I was having a conversation with somebody else. They were telling me about it. So he could be worse, sure. But, you know, on like a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give him like a 3, I would say.
I see.
You know? So he could be worse, but he's pretty bad.
Got it.
Maybe like a 2.5.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, nice talking to you too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not shaking hands. All right.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.
Oh, by the way, were you filming any of this?
Yeah, you don't mind it.
Okay, what's it for?
Maxima. The Brazilian thing.
Okay, is it on YouTube or something like that?
It might be, maybe not. I'm not sure yet.
Can I get the information for it, for where I could see it?
Sure, absolutely. I can give you my card.
Okay, great.
Let me see if I have it actually. Oh. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Sure, my pleasure. Anytime.
AKA former Soviet citizen. Interesting. Cool.
Well, that's who I am. I am a former Soviet citizen.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Okay. Oh, Wayfair. Wow, you sell stuff too. Great. Okay. Yeah, very nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good one.
Pleasure. You too. Bye.